we are. Wherever you are, there you are. Welcome to Eat Your Backyard, my YouTube channel where I try to share my love of growing backyard fruit and veg, and my love of animals, and my love of permaculture. So if those things interest you at all, I would hope you could consider subscribing and also giving me a thumbs up on this video if you like the content, find it useful or interesting. So it is a fantastic Sunday morning, and there's just no denying that. Tropical storm Fred somewhat fizzled out in the Gulf. It might reform, they say. They say. Really? What are they saying? They're saying all kinds of things. But I'm pretty glad that, I didn't get wind that destroyed anything and that kind of stuff. So we're pretty stoked on that. Now this morning, what we're going to look at as we walk around my little backyard Zen sanctuary food forest permaculture experience zone, I'm going to talk about permaculture principle number 1. And I plan to cover each one of the permaculture principles and put these in a playlist. So if you're interested in this kind of thing, come back and check them all out. Because I try to put these into practice. It actually doesn't take much trying. It all comes pretty natural. And I'm going to walk around and show some examples of Permaculture Principle One, which is to observe and interact. I think that's and again, these permaculture principles are so philosophical in nature as well as practical and utilitarian. And good morning, Nomi. Yes, I do have a moringa tree. The question was, do you have a moringa tree, sir? Why, yes, I do. I have several. And in fact, thank you for asking. I'm really stoked you're interested in moringa trees because I am also. I've gone on somewhat of a moringa craze as of late. I'm executing a program I call Moringification. I just made that up right now, but that's what I'm doing. All right, so look at that. That's a moringa tree. That's a little baby. You see, and you see, this is actually the moringa tree. This is a good place to start. Every place is a good place to start, by the way. But philosophically speaking, transcendentally, but I'm going to say that observing and interacting with moringa trees has taught me a lot. And I just started really incorporating this year. Their leaves are good as poultry feed too. Okay, well, I think that's an incredible insight to moringa, actually, that you can feed it to your chickens. So that was one of the reasons that I just decided to moringify everything, to really moringify my yard and get these trees producing lots of vegetable matter for, for my chickens. And also my sweet little bunnies, my sweet little permaculture bunnies. Got 2 lionhead bunnies cranking out the manure right now. I can hear the turds hitting the pan. And with every, I made that up, but if you're in the Zen bunny run, you can hear them hitting the pan. That's for sure. It's like the pitter patter of abundance. And they are, by the way, rabbits. Holy moly. I mean, if you spend any time petting a rabbit, you know what that's all about. It is like one of the most relaxing experiences with an animal that you could possibly have. If they're nice rabbits. I guess there are ones that get a little not so happy. Mine are very happy. They get out and exercise, and they're always eating stuff like moringa. So let's look at some more moringa. Here's another one planted in a new area. Okay, so observe and interact, permaculture principle number 1. You can see that I planted them all over, and that's the interact. The observe now is how do they grow when exposed to different conditions in this yard. So this is a sunny southern area. The soils are different. So there's a lot of factors here, and I've kind of combined a lot of variables. But then we try to, like the soil, the sun, the rain, all that kind of stuff. And then we observe and see how they do, and that to me is one of the most fun ways. And you notice right away, and by the way, Naomi, thanks for bringing that up, because this is just such a perfect way to get into permaculture principle number 1, or show it. And there are a lot of ways I could show it, but this one is really fun because I'm super stoked on the progress. But okay, so here's another spot. More sun, slightly more supplemented soil here, more organic matter in the soil. And wow, it's thriving. Now these were all about the same age, but you could definitely see a vigor here. The one in the shade, not so much. Makes sense. Most excellent. And then we can look at another experiment, observe and interact experiment I've been doing lately, which is to plant moringa. This is, by the way, I have a series, a playlist now, season 1 of a series that I did called What You Got Growing On, which is a widely used term across many YouTube channels, or what's growing on, that term. But anyway, where I grew all kinds of things. Okay, most of those things have now been transplanted into the yard, small fruit trees or whatever, but I've continued to grow things on this table, and this is where I do experiments. Okay, so all of these pots right here now have one moringa tree, one seed, moringa seed, shelled seed. I take the shell off, with my fingernail, I just kind of chip the shell off. Planted them in this soil. Now this medium is, you can see it's very sandy. And in it is also rabbit manure and chicken bedding with manure all in it, chicken manure. And I did not allow the chicken manure to compost. And in fact, I just kind of piled it up in a place over in the corner here. And I think it killed one of the pigeon peas I had there, which is crazy, but I think it just killed it from hot fertilizer syndrome, basically. Chicken manure is a hot fertilizer, so you can't just apply it directly from the chicken's tutor to the string beans or whatever. You got to compost it so that it doesn't burn those things. And so because of how much, I think it's because of the nitrogen, not exactly sure, but the point is that I was wondering if this soil would be okay, so I planted one moringa tree in each one, and nothing has sprouted. I also did one moringa tree in just standard potting soil, and look at that. That's a moringa tree. Still nothing has sprouted, and this is about 6 or 7 days now since I planted these, and I put these papaya stems in here to market. That's a technique I use, but to know what was planted. We have a lot of pots of things, but nothing has sprouted. I'm going to leave these here at least for a couple more weeks and see what happens, but my guess is maybe none of them will grow, or they'll all grow and grow better than ever, but we'll see. Observe and interact. I don't know. Look at this little starfruit tree. Is that cool or what? Now, by the way, if you're not growing starfruit, I understand, but you could easily do it by simply purchasing a starfruit and planting the seeds, and you're going to get about 100% germination in just regular potting soil. Now, I use, you could get any potting soil, but the Miracle Grow stuff is probably the best, in my opinion, but the best is not to have to go buy potting soil. That's for sure. And that's why over here we have got 2 compost bins just cranking out soil, and I've actually discovered it's not enough. And that's a different subject, so I won't get too off on that tangent, but you can see I use also that jungle growth potting soil. Get that at Lowe's. All right, so let's go look at some other moringa. Well, maybe we eat some of this palm fruit while we're at it. Man, look at that sky. All right. Here we are. The Moringa tree. Now this one's a little older, meaning it's about 6 months old, and it's starting to actually get bark on the trunk. But this is in absolute full sunlight, and it's doing much better. So, it tells me these moringas like that full sunlight. All right. Let's go through these plumeria came back. Actually, we had heavy winds knocked down a gigantic one we had there, and it grew right back. This is an edge area, which relates to another permaculture principle of utilizing edge space. If I'm right here, I'm kind of out of the sun, so you can see better. But there is a beautiful moringa. That's the one that has done better than any others. All right, let's see if we can take a look at that. And look at this. Now, I'm not hesitating to plant them in places in between and under, meaning under, maybe other trees or a power line or whatever, because I'm going to be trimming them back. As soon as they get up to about 6 feet tall, I'm going to top them. And, down low, about 3 feet, and just be harvesting leaves off them all the time, and also feeding them the rabbit manure, which I think is going to help them produce, but we'll see. This is great, by the way. I recently had a viewer that pointed out this is probably what they call a Burbank cactus. These are just cuttings off of a larger one that got knocked down in a storm, and I kind of distribute it, but apparently there was a guy named Burbank who developed strains of cactus intended for food, a food cactus, but the variety they developed required a ton of water. But anyway, it's a Thornless Pad Cactus, and I think this is one of those varieties. It does require a ton of water, but grows like crazy and produces, you could eat all of this. Produces a ton of food. Now you can use it as animal food as well. In fact, I throw these pads in the chicken coop. We're gonna go back and check out those chickens here in a bit, so if you stay on, you'll get to see my sweet chickies that I love very much. I'm gonna love eating their eggs real soon. Look at this roselle. And thank you, I was corrected on how I was pronouncing this. I was calling it roselli. Apparently the socially acceptable way to say it is roselle, so I want to do that. This is a form of hibiscus that I grew from a seed. Really easy to grow. And it produces flowers, calyxes, that taste something like cranberries. Really delicious, like a cranberry sauce flavor. And the stems actually are full of red dye that you could use, but they're also very fibrous. You could actually use it to make rope, and they do use it agriculturally as fiber. Also, of course, the sugar cane. That's a winner every time, but I've been planting a lot of sugar cane too for all the same reasons. We even I decided to plant dragon fruit along here too, and as you can see, it is totally gripping onto this panel. I really actually like that. I plan to grow it up all onto this fence. But the way you do dragon fruit, in my opinion, is the best way is to plant lots of them. So I've got lots of cuttings. Hey, Camel, welcome. Yeah, I plant lots of these dragon fruit cuttings along the fence. I'm going to keep stuffing them in there as more are created. I'm just started to add in some things that I've been growing on the grow table. We've got a Carambola starfruit tree right there. This is the time to do it. You've got a Carambola tree. You've got about 4 months until you may have to stand the test of a cold snap or two. But yeah, the Burbank cactus, man, what an incredible thing. It turns out we get tons of water here, so. And this is almost waist high now. I just love it does seem more or less like the feel of a vegetable. It's weird, it seems very soft. I like that. It's gonna be easy to deal with, to trim. And let's see, maybe I'll try to give a little of this to the buns. Or not, the rabbits. I can just snap it off. I don't really know the best way on a small tree like that. I'm gonna not snap it off. Nice! Way to go, Camel. Yeah, you got the starfruit grove started, right? I'm just gonna cut off a couple of these. Oh, that didn't go well. I'm operating under the theory that this likes to be trimmed. I'm sure if I trim it there, that little nub will just fall right off. So there's a little bit of moringa. These are just kind of the halfway good ones on the bottom that were getting ready to fall off. And those chickens will not mind it. In fact, I think they like it if it, you know, they're vegetables a little bit. And by the way, I gotta make a door here. So even if it's just a little cubby door, but now I have to think that through. The system. All right, let's see. See if we can get this gimbal to move along. Yeah, and you can see I've got more trees ready to go. Here's a Hawaiian papaya. That's a tamarind. It's a sour tamarind. And I've also been, it seems so simple it's ridiculous, but playing with water collection in buckets. And I realized, I'll try to remember to show you what happened in one day yesterday with this tropical storm Fred. We filled in this, I probably could have gathered hundreds and hundreds of gallons of water in one day if I had wanted to, but I just put buckets around in different places in my yard to see how much water they collect. Now that one wasn't under a roof, so it didn't collect much, but even that much is like really convenient to just be able to pour on a plant. Thing is, in Florida, you have to remember to empty those standing water areas or else you're going to be breeding mosquitoes, which is not what you want. Oh, quick Persian mulberry update. It is now bigger than me. This is planted in one of the very first live streams I did, which wasn't that long ago, actually. And I'm trying to remember to link it. But this thing is just going off. It's had a healthy diet of rabbit manure, worm tea. Loving that vermiculture. Ah, you know what? Maybe we'll pick some rabbit food too. We got these carrots. I'm growing carrots. I picked a few last night. These little carrots. Oopsie. Yeah, these little baby carrots that are pretty easy to grow. By the way, I realized this year too that if you live in Florida and you're looking for vegetables to grow, that can be really challenging, by the way, to grow vegetables in Florida because it's so hot. You have to pick the things that can survive the conditions. And if you find them, you're loving it. And carrots are one of them, for sure. These carrots are incredibly delicious, too. That we not just for bunny food, but I mean as baby carrots. And you could just plant them by throwing them and on top of the soil. And they just grow prolifically. So I had no idea carrots were so easy to grow in Florida. Oh no, you had to bury a chicken today? That's a bummer. Well, I mean, I think the thing would be, well, now you have an excuse to buy new chickens. But yeah, egg production delayed for sure. All right, let's see here. Oh, it wasn't a chicken. Oh, when you said bird, I automatically assumed you meant chicken, because I got chickens on the brain. All right, so here we are at my little chicken coop that I built. Sorry, girls. It's been... Yeah, they're used to getting out a little bit earlier, but I got delayed today. Oh, you look excited. Oh yeah, you are excited. That chicken head movement, excited chickens. Up on their perch bar. I built their perches in there so that they can see out the window. go. Well, first out, Ponzi. Second, I think that's Chicken Joe. There goes Sally the Sea Monster. Hey, Blondie. How you doing, sweet girl? I'll tell you, these Goldens, they're Rhode Island red hybrids. Oh, they were eating the chicken. They were eating the Moringa out of my head. These little Rhode Island red hybrids are so friendly and docile. I think they're the golden retrievers of chickens, personally. Oh, look at you. Would you like to try some Moringa? The barred rocks love it too. Now, in terms of chicken intelligence, I'm going to say that the barred rocks are more intelligent. The black birds here, the golden birds, are more friendly. There you go. I do not have a carob. I do not have any carob. Oh, hey. These chickens are untying my shoes. They like to peck at the shoelaces. All right, I'll feed you the rest inside the cage. I'm trying to back out of here without releasing a chicken. All right, now if I do it this way, I've already made sure that my little chicken herding fence is up, so they just go right back into their backyard sanctuary, to their unlimited bugs. They will never reach the bottom of the bug bucket in that area. Now, here's what I've also got. By the way, shout out to Grub Terra. Going to be providing links down in the description to get this stuff if you love it. I love it. It's black soldier fly larva, and it's really a nutritional supplement for chickens, full of calcium and this other good stuff. All right, you could do oyster shells as well. Oh, they are round to go. Let me out. All right, here we go. Open. Now, I always think there is no need to rush. Actually, we try not to freak the birds out much. We just keep them kind of in a chill mode. And I find just going at chicken speed. Look, they're going at chicken speed. Nice day to be out here. It's interesting to see what they first do. I could just watch animals for hours and never get tired of it. And if you're also like that, well, this is the channel for you. Ooh, look at that little pecking order action being established. That's Ponzi. She's got to assert herself. She's in control here. Yeah, you're in control, aren't you? Makes everybody feel more relaxed, I know. All right, here you go. Oh, you see the mealworms down there, huh? Sally the Sea Monster. C is for chicken. Yeah, they love it. You know, here's an interesting little fun fact that I learned from Dr. Andrew Huberman, a Stanford neuroscientist. I learned it from one of his videos. Whoa, that freaked me out. I didn't see what happened, but somebody was not so happy. Yeah, you see, I'm kind of putting this in a way that they have to compete for the food, like they have to. Yeah. Normally, I would just do something like this. Just throw it out and let them peck at it and carry it away. All right, you see the worms, and it is time for the chicken song. Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Shake them mealworms. Shake them mealworms. Yeah. If you shake the mealworms, or the soldier fly larva in this case, you have attentive chickens. Are you paying attention? Ah! I think so. Are you paying attention? Ah! Observe and interact. Permaculture principle number 1. Very nice. Jumping chickens. You should get some. Uh-oh. Nice. All right, now we're just gonna let the love out. Here's what I mean by that. That's a lot of energy there. Another permaculture principle, store energy. All right, here he goes. Let's throw it out there. Spread it over a wide area, then they can all get to it. Yep, they love those fly larvae like nothing else. But as you can see, they love moringa as well. So how could I have too much moringa is really my question. When you could just easily trim it back, chop and drop it. It's producing fruit, it's producing leaves that every animal just craves. Now, this is the simplicity of the system. This is a major, major achievement for me. And what I mean is to achieve simplicity and functionality. I love designing these little permaculture systems. And this system took a little while. I had to observe and interact with these chickens and with what I've got for my backyard in order to figure out the right way to go. I just ended up going with this regular old garden fencing, and it's worked out great. And not getting into creating hinged things and structure, and cutting wood and drilling it and putting it together like all that. Just use some classic what I would call farmer wire, fence wire. Made a hinge with that. This stuff was pretty inexpensive. I got a roll of it that covers my whole yard, and it's also my whole back area, and I had more than enough of it. It was like $30, so it wasn't that expensive. I didn't think, compared to how much I paid for the hardware cloth I use in the chicken coop. Oh yeah, there you go. And the golden's getting up there. Might be roosting time. They love that cardboard plant. And that plant is one of the few things that's tough enough to withstand a chicken assault. Like, they don't have an interest in it. It's obviously not even, a chicken can't really do much with that cardboard plant. So it's a really cool thing to be planted there. I've actually got a couple more that are growing around that are going to be growing even faster once they get a taste of all this chicken manure. Which, by the way, I'll probably harvest the compost that I've got back in here at some point and replace it with new stuff. Yeah, they're happy. They're at their, now that they've gotten a taste, they're at their work. They got a taste of the bugs, and then they'll scratch and eat bugs, wild ones growing underneath all this organic matter for the rest of the day. I don't put any additional feed in here. And so they, are really permaculture chickens. I'm always throwing compost. We throw a lot of things like the moringa leaves, but even just, I'm now letting areas grow wild, so to speak, just to harvest all the natural plants that grow in it. Like, look at this area. I normally would have tried to keep this all weeded out, but I don't now because I like it to grow so that I can harvest these grasses. This is nutsedge. They will eat the heck out of nutsedge. It's like basically free hay. And I don't have to plant it. I don't have to do much of anything with it. This crabgrass is amazing. Talk about free hay. Yeah, you see, this is bunny heaven. And by the way, I've observed and interacted with the weeds that naturally grow in my backyard now for years, and all that knowledge is now helping me to observe and interact how the animals in the yard interact with it, so that I can do stuff like I'm doing right now, which is harvesting free hay. And you start to treat it like a vegetable, of course. And look at this. Look at what else is growing here. Oh, here's Bermuda grass. Yeah, they love that Bermuda grass. That's another good one. So I got three kinds of grasses just that naturally set down roots right here. And I could trim it back and then come back, but I think, you know, the most vigorous growth and the most nutritious growth that's going to happen is when it's first growing. So and by the way, the seeds spread everywhere and you're going to get new ones right away. So all this, look at just a little bit of time of picking some weeds. Yeah, are they weeds now? Or are they chicken food? You know, they're definitely just chicken food. I know that the plants they love the most. That's why I'll sometimes pick them out, like this one they really like. But look at this, purslane, wild purslane, deer's paw, Florida native edibles. Stuff grows everywhere in my yard. And this is the favorite. I'm not even gonna pick it right now, but this is the favorite of the chickens in terms of green stuff. Oh, this little sunflower. I've been planting sunflowers around. Good. Another sunflower. Encourage you to plant sunflowers. I use them for all kinds of things. I might just give this all to the chickens. Yeah, that's a decent little amount of vegetable matter. And the chickens will not only eat this, they'll also compost it, like tear it up, you know, scratch at it with their claws. This is usually where I give them this stuff, so go into the corner here. Yeah, chickie. Yeah, chick, chick. Yeah, chick, chick. They always come when called. Here we go. And they're loving that. Yeah, they're leading a good life back here. There is no doubt about it. Man, the colors on the croton are just unbelievable. All right, now if you've stayed this long in the video, you deserve what is about to happen. What do we have? Well, what's going on in the worm bin? What's going on in the worm farm? Hey, Stegelman Family Farm, welcome. When is the surf coming? The surf is here, Stegelman Family Farm. The surf is about 3 to 4 foot, maybe 5 blocks that way. Just checked it. Flat in Fort Pierce, you gotta be kidding me. Even at the jetty, the north side of the jetty, flat. Wow. That's really surprising. You must be getting blocked by the Bahamas to not get surf there. I'm up in Brevard County, so I'm not that far from you, but love Fort Pierce, by the way. All right, now, I thought this would be appropriate. I printed this thing, put it in the worm farm, to read a poem. Another thing I like is poems. Always liked poems and the deeper hidden meanings in them, perhaps, or the meanings you bring to them. And one of my favorite philosophers, favorite transcendental thinkers, is Henry David Thoreau. If you don't know Henry David Thoreau, well, maybe you check him out, but let's just read a poem here. I thought I would read a poem that I love and directly relates to this first permaculture principle. Oh, you're coming to hear the poem? Actually, I should have an audience as well. Yeah, chick, chick. Yeah, chick, chick. Chick, chick. Yeah, chick, chick. There we go. Alrighty. So here is the poem. It's called Tall Ambrosia, and I'll ask you to give any comments on it afterwards to let me know what you think. Tall Ambrosia by Henry David Thoreau. Among the signs of autumn I perceive the wormwood, called by learned men ambrosia elatoire, food for the gods. For to impartial science the humblest weed is as immortal once as the proudest flower. Sprinkles its yellow dust over my shoes as I cross the now neglected garden. We trample underfoot the food of gods and spill their nectar in each drop of dew. My honest shoes, fast friends that never stray, far from my couch, thus powdered, countrified, bearing many a mile the marks of their adventure. At the post-house disgrace the Gallic gloss of those well-dressed ones who no morning dew, nor Roman wormwood ever have been through, who never walk but are transported rather, for what old crime of theirs I do not gather. I think that's pretty cool. Now, Henry Thoreau, of course, lived far before many of the modern things of today, and was yet still able to figure out these simple truths. And that's because that there's, I'm going to say basically looking at the abundance right under your feet. Now, he's the kind of dude who would be happy to go wander around the food forest and eat berries. He talked about that quite a bit in his writings, going on the blackberry adventures. But yeah, integrating these simple things into your life, like chickens and food and plants, I just think is one of the best things you can possibly do for you. And as you get into the permaculture part of it and the principles part of it and start to look at, how this is organized in that system, it does definitely become a very much a philosophical exercise. Okay, let's look over here too. Oh, we were going to feed the buns. Maybe we'll go do a little bunny time. Anybody into doing some bunny time? I mean, really the question is, how could you not be into doing some bunny time? You have something better to do than bunny time? Well, you might. All right. Hello. All right, I'm going to, let's see. Yeah, I gotta think about whether I'm going surfing this morning or later. It's low tide right now. I had such a scary shark experience last weekend. I'm glad to see there's little waves. It just, when it's so glassy and small, you can just see every shark out there. But I had one come up, and a big black tip come up and slam bait right next to me. So close to getting bitten. All right, here we go. Yeah, interesting thing is, my son was actually bitten by a black tip, but on his leg, on his shorts, didn't actually get through it, just cut his shorts. All right, I got to put down this thing to be able to, let's see here. Get two hands on little Thumptastic. All right, here you go, sweet little guy. Holy moly. so cute. Every time it just blows my mind. Hey, Thumpy. Oh, right back to the lemongrass, huh? What you doing, little guy? They love this lemongrass. So do I. How do you like this system? Zen Bunny Run. I don't know that much about rabbits, but I'm gonna say that this is what a happy rabbit looks like. Gonna eat some pigeon pea? Oh no, a little of that nut sedge. Yeah, you'll keep it mowed, won't you? Everything in here is edible. I wondered if this was gonna make it. Huh. Okay, I know you like to eat Dracaena. I didn't know that until now. I thought that was gonna be one that the rabbits wouldn't have liked. Oh, you haven't tried raising rabbits? Well, congratulations. Now maybe you consider doing that. I hadn't considered raising rabbits right before the moment I started to decide to raise rabbits, which was went over to Funky Chicken Farm in Palm Bay, looking for chickens and learn about chickens, and got more than I bargained for sure, because it turns out they had a great amount of bunnies, and beautiful bunnies. I mean, lionhead bunnies. And yeah, you could get a full-on, like New Zealand or Californian type chinchilla bunny. It was like $35. So it's incredibly, and the manure being so high quality, really was no brainer to get the bunnies instead of the chickens to start. And then of course we followed up with the chickens anyway. So now we just have something approximating a suburban zoo, but not really, because these are all pretty low impact animals, obviously. And all within the rules of the city and so on. This little male rabbit thumper is one of the most gentle creatures I've ever encountered. No doubt about that. And he's such a fool for petting now. Let me see if I could get him to come out. Maybe I'll see if he'll let me pet him. It's kind of, oh no, don't want to get pet. Yeah, don't interrupt my playtime, man. Yeah, and if you know rabbits, you know that they will absolutely dig out of any enclosed space that doesn't have wire all the way down. Now those wires kind of curve down, and so he'll reach it if he goes deep enough, the end, but he still gets to dig. This is like rabbit Sunday morning workout, rabbit yoga. Interesting. Yeah. Let's see if we can get you out there. Let's see if we can get you hopping. Let's get you hopping. Now, the thing about a rabbit is they are definitely one hop away from being a wild rabbit, even if you domesticate them, I think. But this one has been with us since it was tiny, and just, so even though it wants to kind of flee, if you get a hand on it, it's just, and scratch it in the places it likes to be scratched, that's what you get, a fool. The coat on this rabbit is just so incredibly soft. You like that, Thumbs? I think you do. I'm gonna just say you do. I'm sorry, you had a little something in your eye, buddy. I had to get it out. We got it out. Here you go. So we'll let him run around, dig holes, eat wild food. Yeah, he's gonna eat those fig leaves next. So yeah, here's another moringa tree. This one planted crazy close to a cable line and then a power line. But again, just gonna keep it maintained low. Low as you go. Here, chick, chick. Here, chick, chick. Oh, you good little girls. All right. Now, the thing that you get by feeding them, supplements and keeping their diet rich, one of the things you get for sure is a very healthy chicken, but you can see it in things like how incredibly healthy their feathers are. These guys are pampered for sure. But the feathers are really beautiful. I mean, nice, healthy. Yeah. She can scratch her beak with her foot standing on one leg. Do a quick check on the dwarf Malay coconut tree. This is a green variety. Now, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I appreciate it. We do these live streams every Sunday morning, typically. Usually every Saturday and Sunday morning, but this weekend I had to help a family member move to a new place, so that took my Saturday for the most part. And watched that Buccaneers football game. Which was super fun. But yeah, this dwarf Malay coconut is now finally getting past it didn't take that long, past the initial stage. So you plant coconut trees, they've been root bound, etc. This one was pretty decent sized one. I got it down at a tree for me in Sebastian, Florida, which by the way, had 2 very good experiences at that spot. And super impressed by the plants they had, and thought the prices were reasonable. And so anyway, as I talk about this, I want to get in the truck and drive back down there again today. And I know if I do it, I'm going to drive home with a fruit tree in the back of the bed. Which, hey, that wouldn't be so bad, would it? I went and got this coconut tree, and then a week later I went back and got 4 more palm trees from him, because I was so stoked on this thing, but it was hard to find it. I couldn't find dwarf coconut trees. You can find a regular coconut tree at Lowe's and Walmart most of the time around here, but you can't find these dwarf coconut trees very easily in my experience. So I did find this one, planted it, but what happens is, of course the initial growth is kind of whatever it is. This one has, yeah, you can see this, it's sitting in a pot for however long, and it's got whatever happens when you do that. But I fertilized this a lot with bunny manure. So it's going to power. It's just going to turn on the turbo and not stop. You see all the bunny turds that are down there now? That's gold. Well, so that initial growth will be obsolete very fast now, because these new roots that are going out that are going to feed all this stuff is fully happening. And how can I know? Well, it's already taller than me. And look at the color in this palm frond. That's what you want. Nice green, dark green color. And the vigorous growth is also now starting to it's starting to really increase the rate at which it's growing. But each one of these fronds will essentially get a little bit taller. And before you know it, I'll be getting coconuts. I'd say probably in about a year or two. Maybe a little longer. Depends how much bunny turds we give it, really. But the 3 others I planted in my front yard, and figure there'll be some loss from people picking coconuts, but really not that much. There's so many coconut trees in this neighborhood that, yeah, it's really not a novelty. Look at those little hens. They are hard at work composting, right where I put a whole bunch of sea grape leaves. I'm sure there's colonies of bugs living under them now. Keep it up. Keep up the good work. Dwarf date palm trees. Yes, indeedy. Know me, it's a dwarf date palm trees. Here's one. The Robellini. Now, ready to be planted, actually. And they're at the point now where they're going to be just dropping seeds like crazy. I'm going to grab this. Let's plant some dwarf date palms. Robellini. Now these are edible if you like eating things that are gross, which, I know those people are out there. All right, now this is how I plant them. Is that I just basically plant them in the ground. And then once they sprout, I transfer them to a pot. And not kidding when I say my method is to find a partially shady area and do this. That's it. Now those seeds will fall down into that organic chop and drop material, and they will sprout. And how do I know is the next question. And the reason is I've observed and interacted with that process for years. Here's the same thing I did with Areca palms. That was about a year ago. And this is what we got. A new Areca palm clump. And then I took some of them and I put them in a pot. So I'll grow that as a landscape, a nice little potted palm. Yeah, so here's another thing. The soft tip yucca. Little known. Soft tip yucca has edibleness to it, which are those white petals on the flowers. But everything on this fence is edible. Stoked on this Montingia tree. Love this nutrient return. But this thing is just doing incredible. Grew this in the What You Got Growing On series from a seed. Bunny turds and vermiculture, my friends. Look at now, it's getting beautiful white flowers on it, and so it'll have fruit very soon. This is a Muntingia tree, known as Jamaican Cherry, also known as cotton candy tree, and many other fun names. But this one, what do I see? Oh, it's got fruit on it. It's got fruit. I just don't see any that are ripe yet. Yep. There you go. It'll produce hundreds of these berries that taste really good. They taste something like cotton candy, strawberry flavored cotton candy. I love them. And all my banana pup experiments of the last year or so are now coming to fruition to some extent. Those pups are all growing in here. These are all bananas I grew from pups. And it's a variant of Musa, apple, Orinoco. And another type of Musa. Just like this type that's producing. I'm back in the banana producing game again, even despite the fact that I wiped out my whole banana patch, moved it to a totally new location to get that chicken coop built. But yeah, these bananas are ripening beautifully. Look at that thing. Kidding me? See the sugar cane growing up in the banana clump? That's a classic. Yeah, that's gonna be super tasty. You know why? I'm gonna put it in. Oh, this is a good time to let you know about my newest, greatest discovery, which is the food dehydrating. It took me a while to get into it, but now that I'm into it, I'm fully into it. I dehydrated so many mangoes this year. What an incredible thing that was. And I've been dehydrating apples. Go buy a bag of apples from the grocery store and just chop them up and put them in the dehydrator. Been dehydrating pineapple, which is incredible. It's like a leathery, chewy, one of the most delicious things I've ever had. Just like candy. But yeah, I'm gonna dehydrate those bananas. The ability to preserve food, of course, being a must-have, I would say. You should have the ability to preserve food. I have a few ways. I actually have a smoker, too, over on there. Now, all these things depend on power, so it's not exactly off-grid living or anything, but we do have the way of preserving food. And when you have just food showering down, oh, your favorite? Yeah. The food dehydrator, to me, I could form a religion around food dehydration. It's fruit dehydration. Just that part that I've gotten into right now, just because it's so incredible. Such a puzzle piece in the permaculture thing is food preservation. Store energy is what they would call it. But, how do you store energy? Well, I had probably 300 mangoes come out of my Tommy Atkins tree this year because of the bunny turds and all that stuff I'm putting out. Just the production went through the roof. How do you deal with 300 mangoes? Well, I actually ended up almost cutting my finger off chopping mangoes because I don't know how to use a knife, apparently. But nonetheless, recovered from that. Now I have a cutting glove, so I don't have to worry about that as much. That's already saved me a couple times. But how do you deal with that many mangoes? First, you learn how to cut them properly so that you don't end up having it slip out of your hand and cut your finger. The second thing is, you got to have a food dehydrator. You got to. But it is a fair amount of work cutting up all those mangoes. But now that I've started to play around with the thickness of the cuts on the mango or the fruit that I'm using, and you can really, you don't have to chop it into tiny pieces, is my point. You can make it quite larger. And I could set that thing to just run for 12 hours, 20 hours. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I actually bought a bag of apples and a ripe pineapple last night at the store. I want to share something with you I found at the store and bought. And I was actually just over there, but I didn't think to highlight it. Yeah, this thing. Look at that. I'll try to put a link in the description. There's little things like this. This was like $10. Game changer garden tool. nice soft handled thing. Can get a big scoop out enough that I don't have to get out a big shovel, but it will remove area. It's going to be good for planting, for just mixing stuff up. It's got enough space that it can get a good scoop. It's strong enough that it isn't flimsy. So, dude, I'm loving this thing. Loving it. Little things like that. I found that these Corona products are actually really good, and they get put to the test in my yard because it's salty. If you put anything metal out of my yard, it's going to turn to red dust quickly, rust. Every grill I've owned is like that. Here's another one I bought. I think this is Corona. Yeah, Corona too. My dude's doing the afterburners right over the hood. Interesting. All right. I kind of think that's a really cool sound. It's just it interferes with the video. All right, look at this. This was the expensive trimmers, and I've never regretted getting them. And the reason is, this cost me like $30. Normally wouldn't have paid that much for garden trimmers. I have less expensive ones too that I use, but this one really has been great. Has a simple locking mechanism that's not likely to break. It has a wide opening. Like a lot of these clippers don't have a wide, they like open to here or something. You know, a lot of times I want to go in big and kind of ratchet it in. So this has been really helpful to have. Yeah, just a few simple tools. I don't want to, you know, I have a need for a few simple tools. And those two really are important for me. I need to be able to make nice clean cuts on things so that I don't leave raggedy edges on plants and increase the likelihood of getting infections and all that stuff. Yeah. Next thing I've got to do is call the tree guy that I know to come over here and deal with my oak tree. Oh, sorry, Camel, I missed the thing here. Oh, do I have any banyan trees or any near me? I don't have any banyan trees in my yard, and I'm actually not that familiar with banyan trees. I'll have to look into it. I definitely will. So I'm not really sure if there are any near me. There may be. Probably there are. It's one of the things I love to do is, you know, bike around or walk around, go on long walks, and just look to see what people are growing in their front yards and what you can kind of see that they got growing. And you know, so I look for things. I love it. It's almost like the Audubon thing or bird watching, but it's like plant watching for me. And one of the things that was like that, like I'll figure out what the banyan tree is and then I'll look for it, or maybe I already kind of know it, but I knew it under a different name. But I was looking for tamarind trees. I couldn't find tamarind trees anywhere, and I finally did find them. And now that I found a couple, I'm seeing them everywhere where I actually can identify them. They look a lot like a poinciana or a flamboyant tree, so it's easy to mistake them. But the point is that, yeah, I do that with different plants, so thank you. I did that with bamboo for a long time. Look at this. Ground turkey fig cutting. Just stuck in the ground. And it's growing. I'll give it a little, again, simple formula, a little bunny manure, a little permaculture love, little vermiculture love, a little worm tea. And yeah, you know what? I just had the feeling, the urge. Oh, and by the way, while I'm walking over here, I want to tell everybody who's listening to this, we've got a bunch of people on the live stream now. If you are not familiar with the Stanford neuroscientist, Dr. Andrew Huberman, you should go check his channel out. Go check out the things he has to say. He's really interesting in that the science that they're cutting edge science that he's doing is revealing some incredible physiology, human physiology of how the brain works and how your body works, and it's I think fascinating. So yeah, let's see. I feel like bringing one of these chickens out. Let's see if I can get in there without them going red alert here. Peaceful chicken world. Where are you, chickens? Oh, there's one. Well, so I've gone this far and already encountered spider web situation that's unacceptable. There's so many spiders back here. Hey, look who's here. Funny running into you. Oh, go on, Ponzi. Let's get back into the natural chicken habitat. The chicken world from the other side of the fence, as they say. Hey there, hey there. Come here, chick. Come here, chick. Hey. All right. I got a chicken. Oh, I'm heading back to the flock. Yeah, chick. You're all curious. Hey. Thanks. Golden retriever of chickens right here. Yeah, it's cool. They have these natural roosting bars too, so they spend a lot of time up in here. Barbados cherry has just been raining down fruit continuously. They do a pretty good job of getting them all. You gonna come up and visit me? I read on the internet they said these are the best like lap chickens, these little golden birds. I mean, they're the kind of bird that loves to actually be held over time if they've been raised that way, and they certainly have. Jack and I pick these chickens up 10 times a day. Ooh, little pecking order time. Just remember where you are. Right, Ponzi? Remember who's highest on the roost. Yep, absolutely fantastic chickens. Holy crap. I'm gonna get in there. There you go. No, stay here, stay here. Try to get low. I think it's intimidating for them when you're up higher than them. Just lay down, lay down. No. Sometimes you can get them to just lay down. No. Hi. You came back. Oh, you are very friendly, aren't you? Just come here. Peck in my pocket. You peck in my pocket. You peck in my pocket. Come here, Potsy. Come here, Potsy. See if you scratch. They come over. Chicken scratch. Come here. Maybe there's a fig up here. Give him a treat. Kind of towards the end of fig season, but there may be one or two. I'll tell you what, one thing they like just as much as a fig is probably the leaf itself. Here you go. Fig leaf. Here. Yeah, they love fig leaves. Especially if you hold them, they'll really go to town because they can get a good angle on it because they would rip it off with their beak. Okay, chicken pecking at my pocket button. I'm gonna pick that button off. All right, let's give you one of these cherries. See one that fell here. One cherry? All right, chickadees. Very interesting. All right, well, wow. There's that little cardboard plant I was talking about. Even though it's one of the few things that doesn't get decimated by these chickens. All right. Well, we're off to a good start today. I hope you are too. We avoided successfully the Tropical Storm Fred, getting ready to see what the next one does. But regardless of what it does, we're in good shape here, right now. Here and now. So let me know in the comments what you think of the video. I did some new things today that I've thought of doing. One was to start sharing stuff like that. All right, so I hope you have a great day. Please subscribe if you're not already. Use the links in the description to support the channel anytime you go to Amazon. If you just come to Eat Your Backyard and click on one of our links to Amazon, those are affiliate links, and it doesn't cost you anything extra. It just ends up helping supporting the channel. Okay, have a great day. Get out there and add wonder to your life. Thanks for watching Eat Your Backyard.